The lingerie receipt she found in my coat was a setup. At 6:06 a.m., my girlfriend slid a pink thermal slip across our kitchen island like it was a summons. Merci boudoir, the header cooed in perfumed cursive. One silk balconette, one garter in midnight, a size that wasn't hers. The time stamp sat there like a knuckle, 1942. The signature line read Hail J, and beneath it, in block letters the printer should not have known how to produce. Deliver to room 906, Bellwether. I hadn't bought lingerie last night. I had bought dumplings 2 minutes before the vendor closed, wolfed them at the corner while we ran through the chair's agenda, and then let Renee pull me onto our couch and insist we practice the only ritual that ever makes my testimony better. She runs a tenants clinic that teaches buildings the difference between amenity and obligation. I manage other people's fires, and I keep spare keys for doors that like to pretend they are puzzles. Renee held the slip between two fingers, not accusing, not indulgent, interested. That's always worse. Say it, she said. Honeysuckle, I said, adding our ridiculous password and loving how fast it yanks the air back into our chest. She tucked hair behind her ear, the same loop she makes before cross-examining a man who thinks he can be charming at a judge. Room 906, she said. Bellwether. Verdon's favorite altitude, I said. Sky lobby plus 9 floors. And a size that isn't mine, she said like a scalpel. I picked up the slip again and tilted it until the print betrayed itself. Thermal paper blooms if you touch it wrong. I've learned more than I wanted to about how people forge with receipts. The logo had a tiny houndstooth texture under the ink, like a boutique trying to feel like Paris. The footer carried a QR for easy exchange. When I scanned it with a burner, the link bounced through a content delivery network branded with a discreet little crown. Crown again. The vendor that never met a boundary it couldn't turn into a feature. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo of the same receipt on velvet, a bra draped like a decision with a line above it. For dignity, consider skipping tonight. Sable at Murmur. Of course it was Sable. Murmur Labs sells shortcuts as strategy and invoices as inevitability. Tonight the commission would vote on Verdon's harbor deck overlay, 3 hotel floors renamed Wellness Micro Residences, which counts as housing if you own matching yoga pants, and an app that compliments you for breathing. Renee had written the memo that made them afraid. I was slated to testify about Crown's new comfort mesh that teaches lights and locks how to flatter lobbyists. A scandal buys Verdon a month and Sable a salon at Sky Lobby with canapes, prompts, and a rumor already warming up in the coachroom. Renee touched the time on the receipt. You were with me at 1942, she said. I was with you at 1942, I said. And at 21:10, I made a promise I plan to demonstrate again when the city stops knocking. She smirked despite herself. First we knock, she said, on Merci Boudoir. Merci Boudoir sits 3 blocks off the river, where Brick remembers being useful before it became retail. The bell above the door ringed the way nostalgia does when it's been focus grouped. A woman with a tape measure around her neck and a PhD in looking unruffled smiled urbanely. We'd like to return a narrative, Renee said, laying the slip down like evidence. The woman's glance did a precise once-over on both of us and then softened. We do not sell those, she said, tapping the deliver to room 906 line. We sell fantasies. Delivery is Crown's logistics. We just print what they send. You print who they send, I said, pointing to my name. She lifted a brow that could cross-examine a god. Your firm has a corporate rate with the Bellwether, she said. Crown offers curated courtesy to delight VIPs. Sometimes the hotel chooses a gift, sometimes a partner does. We get a digital order with a signature block we didn't ask for. Partner, Renee said, murmur. The woman's mouth tilted. We hang silk, she said, not scapegoats, but your word is not new in my receipts. She clicked into the back office, returned with a stack of thermal slips and a smaller pile of Crown-branded packing cards. We sifted. All week, deliveries to rooms with seed names like Orchid and Meridian, a sprinkling of corporate surnames at the bottom, and the occasional no-charge line that had the guilty confidence of money laundering. She tapped one slip gently. Here, she said, 1941, Orchid Bath Oil Room 906, and here 1943 Silk Balconette Room 906. The 1942 line, it is a clone. See the thermal bleed. Someone heated the paper to lift a layer and then reprinted your name. Renee took a photo of the houndstooth texture under the bloom and smiled with teeth. You'll testify, she said. I'll sell bras, the woman said, but I will print you an affidavit. Jonah lives above a bakery and keeps his laptops like other men keep motorcycles they never ride, tuned, shining, ready to make noise. By 6:52, he had the QR link on a screen and a Crown speck on the other. He traced headers like a man reading tarot. Crown, Courtesies API lets partners generate a gift slip tied to a hotel and a corporate rate, he said. If a partner has your firm's token from an old booking, they can generate a folio that looks as good as sin. The signature is a PNG pulled from your last legitimate expense. And the room, I said. He opened the bellwether maintenance portal he shouldn't have had access to and grunted. 906 is MEP offline, he said. Duct work this week. The robe myth all over again. The point isn't a room. It's a story you're supposed to tell yourself badly enough to sit out. Renee looked at me with the particular kindness I have never earned and keep anyway. We're not sitting, she said. We're buying dumplings again, and then you're going to make a room fall asleep with facts. We still had to warn the director of the Sky Lobby Theater that her stage was about to get repurposed. Kira met us at 38 with a folder, and that polite hostess pain I have grown to love and despise. It takes something to be a good person paid to host bad ideas. Verdon asked for conversation prompts, she said, holding up cards. What is home if not a place to be seen? Where does wellness live? How can we make intimacy civic? By not staging it, Renee said. Your brand doesn't do gossip. My brand doesn't do brave either, Kira said. But I do. Here is the Crown Courtesies integration. Here is our maintenance log showing ductwork on 9. Here is a timeline for tonight's salon. She slid one last sheet across. And here is a typed resignation I wrote at 3 a.m. in case I had to explain why I did the wrong thing professionally so I could do the right thing personally. Renee folded the resignation in half and put it back in Kira's folder. You won't need it, she said. Not tonight. We had 40 minutes and a ritual that has saved more hearings than any of my slide decks. Back home, Renee straddled me in the hallway and wrote a better law on my mouth than anyone on the dais was going to manage before noon. It wasn't obscene. It was maintenance. When she whispered, "Say it," I did, because there are notifiable events and then there are the reasons you survive notifiable events. Honeysuckle. By 9:15, the chair's aide had our packet. The boutique affidavit, Crown spec with the courtesies line highlighted like a bruise, the bellwether maintenance log, the time-stacked slips showing 1941 and 1943 bracketing someone's neat little lie at 1942, and Sable's text asking me to consider dignity like it was a coupon. The hearing room smelled like heat and patience. Verdon's counsel said vibrant. He said wellness. He said micro-residences as if the air owed him rent. Crown's manager looked like a man who was wondering when a thermostat learned to confess. Sable leaned on the back rail with a face that says, "I'm not sorry, but I am awake." "Mr. Hale," the chair said, and I walked to the mic like a hinge in a door I want to keep. "This is a receipt," I said, holding up the pink slip. "It's also a character assassination. Crown, Courtesies API lets partners generate gifts tied to corporate rates. Murmur Labs used an old token to print my name on a slip for a room under ductwork. The printer at Merci Boudoir will tell you the time between 1941 and 1943 was spent making the lie. The boutique will sign. The hotel will sign." I was at home, deeply invested in not putting my mouth where public money goes. A laugh broke like a small mercy. The chair's mouth didn't smile, but her eyes did. Renee followed and made verbs behave. "Clinic first," she said. "Escrow that lands before a single wellness floor touches a tax credit. Cameras that go blind within a block of any door marked clinic. And an ordinance that defines intimacy, bodies, receipts, or pixels, as out of bounds in public process." Kira stood without being called and did the brave version of hospitality. "Sky Lobby cancels tonight's salon," she said. "Bellwether regrets participating in a culture of staged conversation. We will not honor partners who ask us to print lies. Our ducks can be inspected. Our bartenders remember the rain." Sable did not clap. She did not look away either. There is a small religion in that. "We vote," the chair said. The overlay failed. The ordinance we've been drafting on the backs of other people's scandals passed with the line I will frame above the kettle. "No staged intimacy, financial, physical, or representational, shall be used to influence public decision-making. Escrow lands first. Crown's Courtesies is illegal in any development agreement that touches housing. Camera bans near clinics. Salon as a word doesn't get to sit next to process again without paying extra." After, in the alley where rooms go to cool, Sable leaned against brick like a villain who had not yet decided whether to be interesting or good. "You are both spectacularly tedious," she said. "We are durable," Renee said. "Bring escrow first. Bring verbs that are vibrant. Bring apologies without coupons." Sable smiled in half measures. "Tell Kira I liked her spine," she said. "Tell Crown I liked their survival instinct. Tell the chair I'll be here next week with a trick you haven't seen that you'll recognize immediately." "You could stop," I said. "I could," she said. "Then who would make you two earn your boredom?" We walked home with our hands in each other's back pockets because rumor likes a parade and I like to choreograph ours. The neighborhood thread pivoted to a casserole schedule for Mrs. Alvarez's grandson who broke his foot jumping off something city funded. We taped the pink slip inside the cupboard with the other ugly receipts, door logs, QR menus, lipstick bands that weren't ours, a frozen frame of a kiss that never happened. Not trophies. Topography. Later, in the blue slice the city can't monetize, Renee lay across me and put her ear to the hinge under my collarbone. "Do you forgive me for the second before the word worked?" she said. "I forgive us both," I said. "The point of a good lie is to find who still blushes." "You blush," she said. "Only when you cross-examine me like that," I said. "There will be more slips," she said. "There will be," I said. "Bring your knot, bring your mouth, bring the word, we'll make the receipts ours."